Most community leaders don't quit because they lack passion. They quit because the weight of survival crushes them. You secure your first grant, but once the program ends, the money dries up. You have a day job that pays the bills, but pulls you away from the work that gives you purpose. You watch your vision, the reason for starting this initiative, slowly shrink into a side project, only kept alive by branded t-shirts, food drives, and endless meeting. Welcome to the CBO's Funders Hell. It's that brutal space between success and collapse where effort alone isn't enough. But here's the thing. Those that make it through don't have more resources. They have more resilience. And if you're stuck in the thick of things right now, this conversation is for you. My friend and I had been traveling around Kenya. We were the warriors on tour. You can imagine, our inboxes were full. People wanted to join warriors on tour, but our intention was never business. We just wanted to explore the world. We had no capacity to carry people around with us. We were hitchhiking on whatever we could. We used public transport. We rode on motorbikes. We just wanted to go. Then one day we thought, why don't we have a charitable component attached to this? Too many people are asking anyway. And that's how Mentors on Tour was born, and was the day Warriors on Tour died. We had no formal plan. We had no organization. We had no finances. We just called schools. We asked them if we could come to speak with their students. We got volunteers, and off we went. Everyone was happy. Volunteers loved the videos that we made. Schools loved the break from normal routine. Pupils loved the sessions, and most schools and most schools booked mentorship weekends with us. It was beautiful. As the team grew, so the demand for planning. We now had to raise funds to hire a van or fuel a car to carry us all. We needed meals, we needed internet. So we finally registered a community-based organization and divided roles. But we were all young, mostly unemployed, out of school people, and bootstrapping was our funding model. The concept of funding was not clear to us. We used any money that came by, despite us not having any jobs. This operation was running on pure passion and sacrifice. Some teachers went into their pockets and bought us lunch. Friends often chipped into fuel costs, and we sailed on. We finally got a partnership with a local NGO. We did one teen training, and our wings were finally unfolding. We were finally on a path to success. But that didn't last long. We got jobs, schedules became tight, our school visits became irregular, COVID-19 came, we took a break, we never resumed. And that's how Mentors on Tour died. I'll give you some context. Founders Hell in this context refers to the frustrating and challenging early stages of starting a community-based organization where progress feels slow, mistakes are frequent, and the overall experience can be discouraging, often leading to self-doubt and temptation to quit. But pushing through this phase is considered necessary to reach a higher level of proficiency. But I took some lessons out of this experience and have built on them over the years. First, the leader carries the vision. However democratic you'd like to be, there has to be someone to lead the team forward. You shy away from being seen as the leader, so you consult with everyone for validation. Looking back at my experience, that often costs founders a big deal. People like being led. However unpleasant that might sound, it's the truth. If you started it, keep it going by taking the lead or delegate the role to someone who is capable of doing it. Believe in your dream and act on it with or without financial support. It's okay to fund the program from your pocket, and I wish this was a more sustainable model. I think this is the true definition of the term community-led. This is one aspect that I'm proud of from my experience at Mentors on Tour. And I would say this having served more than 2,000 activists and community-based organizations across Africa who have done the same. We did quite a lot with next to nothing, and it was fulfilling. However, we can agree how difficult that truly is. I can't count the number of times someone has come to me and said, Jeremiah, connect me to a Mzungu or white person to fund this idea I want to implement. Well, first, I'm not in the business of connecting people based on race. And on listening to this idea, I go, you probably need to prove this actually works before convincing someone to support. We assume that the ideas in our heads will change the world and that funders have an obligation to fund us based on the idea still in the head. My advice, tighten your shoe straps and start walking. Lead the way and others will follow. Set up structures. If you want to go the funder's way, which you probably will, try walking your potential funders' shoes. Remember that they often also are reporting to someone else and are not just responsible for you. Understand that you need at least some basic structures so that they are also sure that they are not funding criminals or terrorists. Set up the following: organizational structure. Register with relevant government entities. Make it legal. Second, financial structure. At least get a bank account. Third, evidence of work done. Take pictures, record videos, write reports, even when you're not answerable to anyone. And finally, referrals. Make friends with people who can put in a word for you in tables that you're not sitting. That way, you'll be able to have a strong kickstart. You see, the financial model for long-term grassroots funding has been ineffective for long. Most funding organizations and programs that are meant to trickle down to the grassroots are either planned for years or done really fast, sometimes like an afterthought. For you, winging, hoping and praying that your work will speak for itself is simply not a viable option. You cannot just sit down, wish for funding, and do nothing to go for that funding. Understand your funders. You see, a national and non-governmental organization will need to account money given to them by another donor to that donor. A big chunk of this is taxpayers' money. So think of USAID, FCDO, the European Union, the African Union. These are mostly taxpayers' money. Despite speaking about community-led organizations and solutions, the nature of these grants is almost always pretty slow and bureaucratic. Now, that's where subgranting entities come in. These are organizations considerably up in the national development sector. They understand the politics, they understand the laws, they have the policies, and they also hire professionals to make sure that these big donors' goals are also met. These are the people that sit in negotiation tables and they spell out what is right to fund on the ground on your behalf. I have been on those tables myself, so I know what I'm talking about. And that's where you come in. For grants that have direct CBO or CSO implementation requirements, these national entities have to prove that they have implementation partners on the ground. And that's why there's been so much focus on training grassroots organizations. Them building your capacity as an NGO is a long-term investment. Your organization is their asset. And in no way am I saying that this is wrong to do. I think we need to have as many long-term partnerships as possible. But never think of yourself as inferior. These national subgranting organizations depend on you. Your capacity and results are what are going to help them get more funding. So reach out to these national level NGOs, see who funds them, how money trickles down from the funder, and negotiate a way to work with them. Collaborate with people. As much as I advocate for less and less conferences and more action on the ground, truth is funders are looking for partners, and the other way around is true. Big events provide this opportunity, and you should take it. When you get a chance, attend such networking opportunities and pitch your work. I'll leave you with an assignment today. Identify icons you look up to, the successful people in your nonprofit space. Google them, call them, email them, reach out to them, find out what they did to get there. Let me know on my LinkedIn. My name is Jeremiah Kipainoi, and this has been the Keepcast.